Students, today we are going to study Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1, Part 2. This is, so let's start reading. Grishenio, you look not well. Signer, Antonio. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that day. That do buy it with much care. Believe me, you are marvelously changed. So Grishenio is showing his concern for Antonio, and he's telling you, do not look well. I think you are not looking well. And he tells that you have much respect. You are very anxious about the worldly affairs. You are very concerned about the worldly affairs, and they lose it because they do buy with much care. So he is telling that Grishenio that you listen. So he's telling that those people who spend a lot of time in worrying about the worldly matters are never really happy. So do not spend most of the time in worrying about the worldly matters, then you will never be happy. Then Antonio tells, see what Antonio tells. A very important speech, you have to learn it. I hold the world, but as the world, Grishenio, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. So then Antonio tells a very, in a very, can say a very deep voice, and a very, he tells it, I hold the world. So he's telling that I think of the world what it is. I don't. He's telling Grishenio, and my part. He's telling that his part, as Shakespeare, Shakespeare, who's the narrator, wishes to create a sense of the forbidding on the principle that coming events cast their shadows before. Okay, so he's telling my part is every man has to play a part, and mine is a sad one. Then Grishenio tells, this is also an important, you have to learn it, an important speech. Let me play the fool with mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come, and let my liver rather heat with wine than my heart cool with mortifying groans. Why should a man whose blood is warm within sit like his grandsire cut in alabaster, sleep when he wakes, and creep into the jaundice? By being perish, I tell thee what, Antonio, I love thee, and it is my love that speaks. There are sort of men whose visages do cream and mantle like a standing pond. So and Grishenio answers to Antonio's speech, and he tells that Antonio, listen, let me play the fool one. Okay, so let me play the man who is fool. Okay, he's telling. So Grishenio is telling that with mirth and laughter, with happiness, with mirth and laughter, let the wrinkles come. Old wrinkle comes, when we laugh, there wrinkles appears on one's face, and let my liver heat with wine. So, and during the back times, an Elizabethan believed that wine drinking warmed the liver. So during that period, it was believed that when we drink wine, it warms the liver, and it was believed that there were 4 basic types of characters: the choleric, the melancholy, and the phlegmatic, and the sanguine. These types were psychologically determined by the digestion of food in the liver. A liver is enriched by wine would produce rich blood, and thus a lively personality. What I'm saying, that's so. Thus, then my heart cool with mortifying groans. So sighing and groaning were believed to take blood from the heart. Okay. Sit like his grandsire, cut in alabaster. So you can see that in a young man is compared to his grandsire, which is cut in an alabaster, and you can see that the jaundice is also being affected. So Grishenio gives the example of the warm-blooded human beings. We are human beings, a warm-blooded young man who who expresses his spirits. So he's telling Antonio that he expresses his spirits and forces himself to stillness till he looks like the marble image of his grandfather. So Antonio is telling he does. So he's telling Antonio does so to advise not and I am doing like this to advise Antonio. Antonio is telling to not to be in melancholic needy. Antonio is likely to be infected with jaundice due to his bad temper. So Antonio is telling that he could be affected from jaundice from his. So, as I was telling you, that by being peevish, I tell thee what, Antonio. Okay, so by being peevish, so by being, I love thee, and that it is my love that speaks. So, I love thee, and it is my love. He's telling that it is my love that speaks to you. There are sort of men who visages. So he's telling there are some sort of men who visages. Okay, who visage, do do cream and mantle like a standing pool. So he's telling some men who overcast their faces with a pale expression. So the men who overcast their faces with a pale expression as the cream that forms on the surface of the milk and the scum that forms on the surface of the stagnant pool.